Hello everyone, this is a little tutorial to demonstrate my method of making a reversible granny square. And there are loads of different tutorials on this. This is mainly for the benefit of anyone who's been having crochet lessons with me, but I thought I'd just put it out there anyway, just so that people can see how I do it, and also to show to use UK terminology, because a lot of the videos, even some of those made by people from the UK, do use the American terminology, which can be confusing. So I'm using a 4mm crochet hook, and I'm going to be doing this left-handed, and I'm just using some of the Shepier's Soft Fun yarn because that's nice and easy to crochet with. Excuse the sound of the washing machine in the background. So I'm going to start by making my slip knot. And I do this by wrapping it round, making a loop like that, and then picking up the tail end, which is laying across the middle of the loop. There you go. Or you can use your fingers like that. Doesn't matter how you do it, it's just what you how you achieve the end outcome. Doesn't matter as long as you get there. So now I'm going to tension my yarn by laying it over my index finger, under my middle finger, and over my ring finger. That leaves my index finger and my thumb free to maintain a grip on the work to stop it from sliding around. And I'm going to use the hook to do a majority of the work, so that all I've got to concentrate on is holding the work and tensioning the yarn with my non-dominant hand. So to begin with, we're going to make a 4 chain and then make a loop. So round from back to front over the hook and pull it through. And the hook turns with its nose pointing downwards so that it catches the yarn and pulls it through the loop. And now I've done 4, I'm going to join that to make a ring. So the hook is going to go into the first chain that we made, and then yarn round and pull it through both the loops to make a slip stitch. Now we're making the first cluster, so we're going to chain 3 because this is a beginning of round cluster, and then we are going to treble crochet 2 stitches into the ring. So you need to manhandle your ring a little bit to find the centre of it, and then we're going to go yarn over the hook into the ring from front to back. See, I'm holding on to that ring with my thumb and forefinger to stop it from moving. Grab hold of the yarn which is being tensioned here and pull it through to the front. That's 3 loops on the hook, round and through 2, round and through 2. I'll do that one again. So my fingers bring the yarn up and over the hook. I hold the loop that I'm working into with my thumb and forefinger. I go in from front to back, catch up that yarn and pull it through to the front. And then it's around and through 2 and around and through 2. And now I've got my first cluster. Push them up a bit to keep them nice and tight. And then we can do a 2 chain for the corner. Now we're going to make a second treble cluster. That's 3 trebles. I'll do these a little more quickly. Please excuse the cat complaining in the background. And then another 2 chain, another treble cluster, if you've seen on any of my vlogs the scrappy granny square blanket that I've been making, this is exactly the method that I've used for that, only that was made with 4-ply or sock weight yarn and a 3mm hook. Now I've done 4 treble clusters into the ring, and I'm going to close that up by making a 4th 2 chain, and then we're going to find this beginning chain here, a standing 3 chain. We're going to count 1, 2, 3. That's the top left corner of the first cluster. We're going to insert the hook from front to back into that corner and use a slip stitch to join that into the round. I hope you can see this okay. I can't exactly see what I'm doing from this angle, so it's a little bit Let me just see if I can adjust this slightly. Excuse my fingers. That might be a little bit better. Yes, I think that is. Okay, so now this is a reversible granny square, which means that we flip from front to back and then back to front on every round, which helps us to keep it square and stops it from slanting off to the side. So we're going to flip the work over now. Then you find that the working yarn is going to be sitting at the front of the work and you want it at the back. So to do that, we're going to go into this little corner and we're going to do a slip stitch. And pull that nice and tight, and then the yarn is where we want it to be here. So now we're going to do a beginning treble again, which requires a 3 chain and then 2 trebles into the corner. And because this is a corner, we're going to do a 2 chain and then another treble cluster into this corner. When we're making chain spaces on the edges of the square, we only need to use a 1 chain, and that keeps the edges a little bit tighter. So we're going to do a 1 chain for the edge chain space, and then we're going to do, whoopsie daisy, sorry, let me just, there we go, that's better. And then we're going to do a treble cluster, 2 chain, and then another treble cluster into this corner. So that's 2 trebles, 3 trebles, 2 chain, and another 3 trebles to make a second treble cluster. So you can quite clearly see that I've now made 2 corners, 1 corner here and 1 corner there, and then there's also an edge forming to the square here. So now we're going to make another edge chain space, which is just 1 chain, and then complete another corner. So the second round is all corners really. And after you've done your second round, it becomes much easier to see what you are doing, where you are, and where you need to put what you need to put where, because your corners and your edges become a lot easier to spot. So that's another corner, that's a treble cluster, 2 chain treble cluster. Now I'm going to do 1 chain for the edge, and then we're going to do another, and our 4th corner of treble cluster. 2 chain, treble cluster. We're going to make our last 1 chain space for the edge, and then again we're going to find the 3rd chain of the starting chain here at the beginning of the round, 1, 2, 3, and make a slip stitch into that corner. And now we're going to start the 3rd round, so we flip and then do our slip stitch into that chain space. Oops, the yarn doesn't want to pull out of the ball. Let's just pull a little bit out there. So that we're now in a position to be able to start our next round. Now, after you've completed the 3rd round, you're going to continue doing repeats of the 3rd round every round until your square is large enough, and that you just increase by 1 edge cluster every round after that. So that's really simple. So now we're starting with an edge, so we're going to chain 3 for our starting treble cluster. So chain 3, treble 2. We're not at the corner yet, so we're going to just do a 1 chain space. Now we are at the corner, so it's a treble cluster, 2 chain, and another treble cluster there. Treble cluster, 2 chain, treble cluster. You can perhaps see that because I've got my yarn tensioned underneath that middle finger and gripped between my middle finger and ring finger, my fingers are going up and down to move the yarn into the position that I want it to be in at that exact moment in time. That means that I've got my thumb and forefinger free to control the work, and then all of the rest of the work is being done by the hook, which is dipping up and down and forwards and backwards. So now I'm onto an edge space, so I'm going to chain 1 and then a treble cluster into the next space. 2, 3, 1 more chain edge space, so 1 chain, and then we're going to form a corner. So 3 treble, 2 chain, 3 treble, an edge space, so 1 chain, an edge cluster, so 1 treble cluster. Remember, a treble cluster is a cluster of 3 trebles, not just 1 individual treble. Another edge space, and then we're going to do a corner, so 1 treble cluster. Grab me a bit more yarn. 1, 2, 3. A 2 chain space, another treble cluster, now we're on to edges, so it's a 1 chain, 1 treble cluster, one more edge space, and then a last corner, treble 3, chain 2, treble 3. And then to finish off, we need to make our last chain space, which is an edge. So chain 1, find the top of your starting chain and close with a slip stitch. So on the following round, we would be flipping it. Then we'd be doing a slip stitch here into this space to get the working yarn at the back. And then we'd be doing chain 3 and 2 trebles, a 1 chain for an edge space, and then starting with a corner, 1 chain, a cluster, a 1 chain, a cluster, a 1 chain, and a corner. So each time you'll add extra 1 chains and 1 extra cluster into each edge space. If you've got any more questions, or if you want me to go back over any of it again, just drop me a message. Sorry about the quality of the video. It's the first time using this little setup, so I'm still getting used to it. But I'm sure it's clear enough for you to be able to see, and I'll finesse it with a little bit of time and patience. See you soon.